So let's continue with our discussion that we were playing with last, what is today? Wednesday? Wednesday, so on Monday. So help me with this. We're talking about this field. We spent the whole morning last time. One of the characteristics that you guys, that we discussed of this field, that everything, everywhere.
Energy is everywhere. Oh, did you just
What?
I thought you wanted to say, oh.
No, I was giving hints.
Oh. That it's pure energy.
Okay. What else? What else did we say about this?
E equals mc squared.
Okay, so
That it be called the collective unconscious, or infinite intelligence, key, Holy Spirit.
good. God, light of Christ, Holy Spirit. What else?
99.99999% of everything is this.
Empty. Good. It's all empty space. Good. What else? What else did we?
That everything and everyone are interconnected.
Okay. I found that reference that I wanted to, that I haphazardly said last time. I want to read this to you to get the idea of how powerful this is, how amazingly powerful. Just tune into this for a second. It says, this is from The Field by Lynn McTaggart. She says, but if you add up all the particles of all varieties in the universe constantly popping in and out of being, so all the material, the electron, you come up with a vast, inexhaustible energy source, equal to or greater than the energy density in an atomic nucleus, all sitting there unobtrusively in the background of the empty space around us, like one all-pervasive, supercharged backdrop. Then this is the killer. It has been calculated that the total energy of the zero-point field, that's what she calls this field, exceeds all energy in matter by a factor of 10 to the power of 40. That's a big number. To a physicist, that's a big number, right? That's not multiplied, that's exponential. So, power of 40. Or 1 followed by 40 zeros. As the great physicist Richard Feynman once described in attempting to give some idea of this magnitude, the energy in a single cubic meter of space is enough to boil all the oceans of the world. In this much cubic meter would be like about that, right? About this much space, a meter is about there? Yes? A cube of that. The energy that is this non-material could boil, in that amount of space, boils all the oceans. Man, that's unfathomable to me. Okay, so let's explore maybe a couple more of these characteristics and bring it a little more close to home. One of the things that that the scientists, as well as all the other people who have described this, tell us it is infinitely creative.
Is energy or the...
Yeah, this field. The same thing. So the idea here is everything that is material was at some point immaterial and has been created out of that immaterial into the material. Okay, hold on a second. I want that to sink in. So think about everything. You've seen pictures of the universe, you know, the constellations, but the galaxies and the stars and planets, and you think, I mean, if you even start to look out into what you think is way out there, and you think, wow, something's running this show, and something has created all of this. Well, it came from that which is not seen, that which is immaterial. This field, this force, is where it came from. Okay, Diana.
When you were talking about the immaterial, the pure energy having more power or energy than the material, when the pure energy combines with other particles of energy, creating material, it's not as powerful as it once was. I'm having a hard time wrapping my head around that.
Well, it's like this table is matter, right? It's organized, right? Well, there's only so much potential energy in the, you could burn it and you get a little flame, okay?
Take
Right?
it to the human level, though, because that's what I'm trying to get. That as pure energy, you have more force, more potential. Now I've created, you guys can help me with this, or, you know.
Go ahead.
Now I have this material being that is supposed to be omniscient, all this wonderful force to be reckoned with. But what I'm hearing is that before it was organized, I'm pointing at you, sorry, before it was organized.
Stacy doesn't mind.
Before it was organized, it was more powerful.
It was potential energy. It was just waiting to become in this immaterial void of seeming nothingness. It actually is filled of unbelievable potential, unbelievable potential energy, but once it becomes matter, then it's organized, and that it is only got so much. Yeah. So.
Kind of what you're saying, and if I understand what you're saying, the summation is you have a lot of energy, you've made something, now you have less energy. In all these comparisons, you have to remember they're comparing it to our normal accessible energy. For instance, a thing where you have a cup of glass of water, and it has more energy than a cup of gas. It's the accessible energy. So if you were to take this table right here and break it down and access that pure radiant energy, you would have the same. That makes sense. So it's not. It's comparing if we could access it to what we can access. That makes sense.
Yeah.
So I mean, this technically has enough energy in it to where we could blow up everything, but we can't access it, if that makes sense.
Right.
Without diminishing the value of
That makes sense.
human beings, if that's what I was getting through. I don't know.
So,
Yeah.
quick,
Okay,
quick
sorry.
analogy.
No, it's hard to think sometimes about this because it is so, it's so much more than we can even imagine.
So quick examples like uranium and plutonium, all these different radioactive materials. Prior to World War II, they were just kind of warm. Put underneath some water and it kind of warm. So that was the accessible energy. And then when Einstein and the other physicists that were working on it were able to figure out how to actually break it and release the internal energy, that's where we got the atomic bomb.
Which is way more apparent energy
Yeah.
than,
I mean, we're talking about something this size did that kind of explosion, just simply because we were able to access what was inside. And so it's not, all these comparisons you have to keep in mind that it's accessible energy versus theoretical energy.
So I think I understand for me now what it means to access. Like, okay, so now as a human being, your potential energy is still great, grand, and massive. You just have to access it beyond. Go a little deeper. Dig a little deeper. Break it up. Okay.
which leads to the next characteristic, which kind of takes us in a very interesting. What is it, do you think? And again, put your thinking hats back on. What is it that sets in motion that which is immaterial into the material? You have this infinite void of nothingness energy, pure energy. What is it that moves it from there to something that we can experience?
Like an attraction.
Well, I would say God, because something has to form that into something, right?
Okay. Now we're calling this God.
Oh, okay. I was like, I'm sorry.
Okay. We're calling this field God, infinite intelligence, waiting to become whatever, galaxies, worlds, plants, us. So what is it that, there's only one thing, what is it that moves this energy from immaterial matter to material? What do you mean?
Remember when we talked about the seed? I guess I just see it as the seed, like how you can put it in a table and then you can put it in earth.
Okay.
That there's an internal intelligence that inherently knows how to create and root for it to be eventually.
Okay.
visible.
What directs that intelligence? Tune into that, guys. This is really, really cool. What directs that intelligence, do you think? What do you mean? Go be a little more accurate. By how?
By what we do.
By thoughts. Okay, so here's the thing. See, here's the interesting idea. Directed by thought. We have this ocean. Okay, let's use that analogy. We have this ocean, and we are a drop in that ocean. Again, going back to the Course in Miracles, the Gerald Jampolsky quote, The only belief that we have to correct is the belief that we are separate from God. The only belief that we have to fix in this, making use of this somehow, is the belief that we're not a drop, one of the drops in this ocean. This vast ocean of energy, and we are part of it. And in order for us to make any waves, ooh, that's a bad analogy, but in order for us to make any movement happen in this ocean, because as it is, the ocean is just sitting there. It requires a thought that moves that energy into some kind of form. What kind of thought would that be? Simpler. Go back to your analogy you said before. Yes. What is the seed's thought? Becoming a tree and having. And so it has in it the picture. And when we set that picture there, into that sea, it goes, oh, I guess I have something to do. Okay. And it starts the seed to growing into that tree. And all we have to do is plant that seed. Do you get that? It's really, that's what it is. That's really how this works. Let me give you this really interesting little set of paragraphs. It's one of the most interesting ones I've ever come upon. Ooh, yes, thanks. No. Okay, read this with me. It's sort of long, but this summarizes what we're trying to say here. And then we're going to spend some time getting more familiar with this idea. This is from the book called The Master Key System. Really a good book if you can get your hands on it. It says, the objective world is controlled by an unseen and heretofore unexplained power. We have heretofore personalized this power and called it God. We have now, however, learned to look upon it as the permeating essence of principle of all that exists, the infinite or universal mind, or light of Christ. The universal mind, being infinite and omnipotent, has unlimited resources at its command. And when we remember that it is omnipresent, we cannot escape the conclusion that we must be an expression or manifestation of the mind. We are part of it, like the droplet is to the ocean. Okay? A recognition and understanding of the resources of the subconscious mind. Remember, we played with that before. We talked about there is a conscious, a subconscious, and there's two parts of that. The collective unconscious, which is, I said there's way more to this than we've even started. That's the part that he's talking about here. It says, a recognition and understanding of the resources of the subconscious mind will indicate that the only difference between the subconscious and the universal is one of degree. The droplet and the ocean. The only difference is one of degree. They differ only as a drop of water from the ocean. Okay, there you are. They are the same in kind and quality. The difference is one of degree only. Do you? Can you appreciate the value of this all-important fact? Do you realize that recognition of this tremendous fact places you in touch with omnipotence? The subconscious mind, being the connecting link between the universal mind and the conscious mind, is it not evident that the subconscious mind will put into action, and as the subconscious is one with the universal, is it not evident that no limit can be placed upon its activities? Thought is the only reality. Conditions are but the outward manifestation. As the thought changes, all outward or material conditions must change in order to be in harmony with their creator, which is thought. But the thought must be clear-cut, steady, fixed, definite, and unchangeable, like the seed. Remember the seed? Pull it out, change it, seed's not going to grow. You cannot take one step forward and 2 steps backward. If you enter into the discipline necessary to bring about a radical change in your life, you must do so deliberately. After giving the matter careful thought and full consideration, then you must allow nothing to interfere with your decision. In other words, keep the seed in there. That's all that's saying. If you wish harmonious conditions in your life, you must develop an harmonious mental attitude. Your world without will be a reflection of your world within. Now, last point, and then we're going to show you something fun for a while. How do you think that this field directly communicates with you?
Let's say in our subconscious, is that one?
Okay, I mean with your conscious. So you're linked with it subconsciously. How do you think it connects with you at a conscious level? This is not a new thing, not our emotions. You've all heard, this is not new to any of us.
I'm just thinking like the manifestation.
How does it, no, connect
Is
with,
it the way you described how the subconscious kind of shoots ideas into our
yeah, and what do we call that?
mind?
What do we call that? You had it?
I don't know.
What?
Like ideas.
What do we call those ideas? Intuition. Okay? When they say trust your intuition, when they say trust your first idea, when they say when you have an idea that just pops into your mind, go with it. Well, here's why. This is where it's coming from. How cool and great is that? It is not a little something of an idea from our past. We're talking about the power of the universe. Our problem is our minds are so busy that we never stop, and that's why I love meditation. Because when we quiet our minds, we subvert, we calm the messiness of our thinking when we meditate, and then we start to see access to this. And when we're in meditation, we start visualizing the things that we want. And it goes, oh my gosh, I've got something to work on. Good. I once heard this, the funniest thing. I'm trying to remember who said this. It was the guy who did Matrix Energetics. And I don't know if any of you are familiar with this guy who, he's really an amazing healer. But he said, he called it the angels, and I think he was referring to the same thing. He says, the angels are like Boston Terriers waiting for you to throw the ball. Come on, throw the ball. Come on, let me do something. I'll do something. Just get. The problem is, we don't ever throw the ball. When you throw the ball, you have to let go. You have to hear. This is the image what I want. I'm letting it go. And then it goes, oh, no problem. I'm all powerful. I made that galaxy. I can take care of this. Is that cool? Now, any questions or thoughts before we move forward?
Is that the super conscious?
Yeah, you could call it that too.
When you meditate, you get to a certain point, which all these thoughts start to try to pop out without really just being relaxed. Is that what you mean as letting go?
Well, the letting go is releasing your attachment to that which you have asked for. And we're going to explore that for 2 days. Because if we can get this one idea, it changes everything. It changes absolutely everything. Go ahead.
There's other questions. I just had a quick comment before
Yeah.
before we move on. On Monday, I misspoke on a couple of the different particles that are in this subatomic. So
Oh.
just as a clarification.
Do you want to clarify them, or does it matter to it?
I doubt we remember the particles anyway.
Okay, that's fine.
Were there any croutons after all?
No,
Croutons.
it's just in the nucleus, it's quarks and leptons, and then you have all the sub stuff, and you get muons, pions, and scions from the electron and positron interaction.
Oh, so those are in the, okay.
And you can get it from the nucleus, but most of the time it's quarks and leptons.
Quarks and leptons.
So, and then
Okay.
you have this below that. But, anyway, just
Which
a
is?
clarification.
Thank you. You knew that. Yeah. We all did. Come on. Sam, get it right, will you?
You should tell me you'll be on the wrong outgoing.
That's why we were looking at you weird. We knew you were wrong.
Yeah. We were.
Not because we didn't understand.
Yeah, not because we had no clue what you're talking about.
So the next thing that I want to do, and we will spend more than one day and maybe 2 or more days on this. We're going to watch a movie that some of you may have seen or you've read the book. It's called The Secret. Most everyone's heard of it before. When it first came out, I was really excited because it was nice that somebody had finally put into a movie there's nothing secret about this. I've been reading about this for 25 years. And this what we read here was written about 1900. I think James Allen in As a Man Thinketh, Andrew Carnegie, who wrote How to Win Friends in It, he understood this. All of these guys who have been quite powerful and famous in their lives understood this. Richard Bach wrote about it over and over again. So there's nothing secret about this, but the idea that I'm doing a poor job of helping us to understand, because I really don't understand it very well. In 25 years of studying it, it feels hazy. But the principle that's in play absolutely works. At least my experience has been, whenever I apply this principle, it works. And that's why I don't have a problem showing it to you, even though I still can't explain it very well. Sam, in his brilliance, still can't. You said to me the other day, I don't understand it all. Nobody does.
Well, we have the potential to.
I don't know if we can. I don't know if we can in this lifetime.
Okay, well, yeah, when you put those circumstances.
I think it's one of those. It's like, do you know the Heisenberg uncertainty principle? Can you explain that really fast? This is an idea, and then we'll get to you about it. Could you explain it? Do you know how to explain it pretty well? Okay, listen really closely, everybody. This is a really interesting idea, and you try to explain why this. It's a physics principle, the Heisenberg uncertainty principle. You try to explain it. And the more you try to wrap your brain around it, the harder it is to understand, at least from my point of view. But go ahead and explain the Heisenberg uncertainty principle really fast. You have 2 minutes. Yeah. What is the basis of it, or the conclusion?
So the basis is that all particles are waves. And so from that, when you're solving the wave equation, you end up getting a solution that says you can the speed and the location are dependent on a constant. So you can either know the speed of a particle to a great accuracy, you know where it's at, or you can know where it's at, but you don't know how fast it's going.
And as a result, and the more you try to know one, the less you can know the other. So you're going, wait, that doesn't make any sense. I can see how fast Ashley's running, and I can find her. But at the electron level, at the quantum level, it stops applying. Okay? Things like that. I mean, I read these physics books these people have written, and my mind stops working. But the principle in play here, it absolutely works. And it is simple. It's really a simple one. So what I'd like you to do, I'm going to, let's see. Would you mind just passing out that while I set this up? We're going to watch this. And I'd like you to follow along with this page. And after it's over, not today, probably it'll take us 2 or 3 days. We will spend some time answering all of the questions. So as it's going, I'd like you to write down any questions that come to your mind. You know, as you're reading and as you're listening and watching this, you know, keep your mind in a question mode. Not as well, I don't believe anything of this, because that's not going to help you any. Be in a, well, I don't quite understand that. Help me understand this. Okay? Be in a, so on the back of the page, so as you're going through, just kind of write down questions. Okay? But I think this is a nice production. It's well. How many of you have seen it? So several, huh? Okay. And I don't know how many times I've seen it, and each time I see it, I like it more. I mean, it's worth the rewatch for me, anyway.